Welcome to the Proven Podcast, where it does not matter what you think, only what you can prove. Everyone says you can't scale without being everywhere at once. Today's guest, Joe Rare, proves that's backwards thinking. He's built 4 digital companies entirely run by teams in the Philippines, scaling to over $1 million monthly while maintaining complete location independence. The show starts now. All right, everybody, welcome back. I'm really excited to have Joe on here today. Joe, you're doing something that most people who are entrepreneurs don't even believe can be done, and they just don't have this resource. So before we get into all that, welcome to the show, man. I'm so excited for you to be here.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
So tell everybody a little bit about you, because somebody don't know that how rare you are. Go in that situation. Tell us a little about you. Tell you about the success you've had.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a kind of a lower middle class family guy. My mom was a waitress. My dad was a police officer, and so I mean, we lived in a super small farm town, and it was pretty, kind of organic upbringing. Lots of siblings and all that, but we had nothing too crazy. It's not a rags to riches story, but it's a working class family, And then I just knew that I wanted something different in life, and I knew that entrepreneurship was the way to go, building my own thing so that I was, in control of my own, future and destiny and all of that. And so I've had more than my fair share of business failures, lots of them. And those have converted into hopefully lessons learned so that I stop making the same mistakes. And, now we've built multiple companies. I have 4 digital companies right now that are all run by a team in the Philippines. So I have an ungodly amount of free time. I get to spend every minute that I want with my kids. We homeschool our kids and do the homeschool hybrid thing. And so we get to do kind of anything, anytime we want. And yeah, we've created some really cool success.
Most people can't even fathom that. And then it's funny things you brought up, and there was a little bit of redundancy there. Like, I failed so many times, all these times, and then I'm an entrepreneur. I'm like, that's kind of the same. That's the same thing. You get
Yeah.
that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
everyone is an
I'm
entrepreneur
pretty
at
sure
that.
the definition of entrepreneur should have failure in it.
It should. I think that's
Be
what it means.
prepared.
I think entrepreneur is an old Sanskrit word that means fail all the time. So just
Yeah.
how it works. You mentioned the Philippines, and everybody knows that Christine is my virtual assistant. I cannot function as a human being anymore without Christine. She's been with me for 6, 7 years at this point. Everything gets done. She's my VA. She is my right hand. She's a gift. A lot of people look down on this. And you just mentioned that you've got 4 different organizations, that your entire team is in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Walk me through the day-to-day of what that like, because most people haven't experienced. They understand the idea of other people's time, but they don't really understand what the workflow of this is like.
Yeah, so it's actually quite easy. It's no different than somebody being here, in the US or whatever country you happen to be in. It's not that complicated. And I think that's where people they overthink this and think that it's just really, really challenging. And it's not. I mean, we do almost every single thing in our daily lives through our phone anyway. What's the difference between doing it through Slack or doing it through another messaging medium? It's not that big of a deal. But for me, one of the core things that I took off my plate that has created kind of my routine is I used to get up in the morning and everybody does their thing. They check their email, right?
Right.
I don't check my email. And I have Martina, who's my assistant. She checks my email. She categorizes everything. She responds as me to everything that she can respond to as me. And then she gives me a summary every morning and every late afternoon, evening, and tells me kind of what happened. Like, hey, here's what's going on. These, are the 3 key priorities. I can't answer them. You have to do it, right? The only time I check my email is when there's something pressing that she can't act as me, or I can't just tell her quickly what to say to send it off. But that was a mind-blowing change, was putting that in place. Other than that, I mean, it's, kind of once a month, we'll have a meeting on each of the 4 companies. The team gets kind of, hey, here's what you need to do. Here's your battle plans. Go to it. Everybody's responsible for their own output. They manage their own teams. I mean, it's no different than any normal business with a CEO who doesn't do the actual work of the company, but they kind of run the ship. I stepped a little further away from that and became what I call a strategic advisor.
Mhm.
So I'm more of an advisor to the company, and then we choose a long-term plan. Like, here's what we're going to do over the next 12 months. Here's what we're doing over the next 5 years. And then we set that in motion and give people resources to go execute it. And then we check back in. How's everybody doing? Do you need more resources? Do you need less? Are we over, under budget? Things like that. So
So
that's kind of my life.
the email one is a huge one for me. That's how it all started for me. What would happen is Christine would go through everything.
And then she would sum it all up, and then she'd give me a one-line sentence pretty much on what each one of the emails were. Then I would take out some sort of voice recording. I would send her some sort of voice message, which right now I do everything through Skype because it's easy, and I'll just record everything. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
email number one to Joe, blah, 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 blah. Email number
Yep.
two to Bob, blah, blah, blah. And that just took time. That took time to get her to train, to learn my voice, to do all
Yeah.
that. We've now loaded my entire voice and everything into ChatGPT, so it'll just respond like me normally. But the team got to the point where they could do that like clockwork. And I don't check emails ever. I don't check social media ever.
Yep.
That's not me. If
Yep.
it has spelling mistakes in it, it's me. If it's
Yeah.
actually grammar and spelled correctly, that's my team. That's what I always say.
Yeah. Yeah.
So as people do this and they're trying to do this, hiring someone, especially if you've never done it before, it makes it even more complex because they're overseas and you can't sit with them and all of that. Where do you start looking for these people when you're going to do this? And what are some of the questions you want to ask? If I'm an entrepreneur at home going, all right, I clearly am overwhelmed. I need to be a strategic advisor, not even the CEO. I need to step out so I can
Yeah.
scale. What are the things that I'm walking into?
Well, the places to look, I mean, you can go everywhere. There's Facebook communities all over the place that have options for you to find people. There's
Right.
that. The second piece is, online jobs, PH is, there's tons of opportunity there. I own my biggest company it just happens to be a virtual assistant services company. So we got really, really good at doing it for ourselves and then realized like, hey, we have the opportunity to help our clients, help other people. And then we built a business out of it. And then that scaled and that became the biggest business. The easiest thing to do is find a company like mine, Level 9 Virtual, and we support you in the process. Find out who you need, what you need, why you need it, if it's the right fit, background checks. Like some of the challenges, how do you find out if somebody's actually good
Right.
or if they're just saying they're good? And we've hired thousands and thousands of people to kind of know some of the red flags, that you should be looking for. Some of the things you got to understand is that they're in the Philippines. So there was just a typhoon and that becomes a challenge, right? So backup power, internet, speeds, backup locations if they have a problem where they are. All of those things are things that we actually factor for. And we don't hire anybody who doesn't fit minimum criteria that we actually have, which includes if all hell breaks loose and you have to still work, you need to have a location you can go to when your power's down, whatever that might be. So those are some of the challenges there. But as far as you mentioned, you can't sit down with them and work with them. Well, yeah, you can. You just do it like this.
Right.
And we do it via Zoom. And so we sit down with our team and we literally show them everything we need them to do in real time, record it.
Mhm.
And if you're using something like a Fathom recorder, it will literally transcribe the whole thing. It'll create bullet points. You can create an SOP without creating an SOP.
Right.
And that's been unbelievably helpful over the years is using more technology, more tools, finding ways that we can replicate our processes, but finding people's easy. That's not the hard part. The hard part is actually getting down to actually testing their skill set, ensuring that, they actually can do what they say. They're a very positive, if you're looking in the Philippines, they're a very positive culture,
Yeah.
right? They want to do right by people. They want to do well. So they sometimes believe with a little bit of trial and error, I could figure some things out, but that's not what I'm hiring for. I'm hiring for expertise, specialization.
Mhm.
And so I don't want somebody who kind of wants to learn and figure it out as we go. No. So we do a lot of testing to make sure that everybody that we offer to our clients, we've already run them through and made them work with me. They actually work on my businesses and prove that they can do what they do. And that's been a huge difference for us.
So as they're going through this, you mentioned red flags. What are
Yeah.
some of the simple red flags that immediately pop you up like, oh God, run? What are some of the
Yeah.
ones that get you that you're like, those are deal breakers over all the years and the thousands of people you've hired? What are some of them you're like, whoa? What are some of those?
First things first, if you say, hey, we're going to get on a video interview,
Mhm.
and then they don't get up on video, red flag.
Absolutely.
If they can't figure out Zoom,
Yeah.
like red flag. If they ask, you ask for them to send over a portfolio of work that they've done, um, be diligent in actually understanding what you're looking at. Like know what you're looking for.
Mhm.
And if it's not right the first time,
Mhm.
like people should put their best foot forward then when they're sharing some. If it's not like like what you're looking for, done. Red flag.
Yes. Absolutely.
Because it's not going to improve. There's a great saying, I don't know who said it, I want to give credit to the right person because I keep using it over and over again, is that nobody has ever come into a business and like months and months and months turned into a rock star. They show up as a rock star.
Correct.
And you're like, nope, this is it. This person is amazing. Done.
Yes.
They don't become a rock star over time. Those people, it's innate. And you know it when you meet them. And that's why I have an operations director who can actually oversee nearly 1,000 employees.
Right.
She is amazing. And there's nobody like her. And so, things like that, that's what you're looking for. But those real simple ones, length of communication of lag. So if somebody wants a role with your company, they want to work with you, but it takes them a day or 2 days to get to you. Nope, you're gone. Because guess what that's going to do? It's going to compound over time when there's projects, pressing, client stuff. It's only going to get worse.
It's very similar when I've tried to explain to people. It's like dating. Trust your gut. My grandmother used to say, when you're dating someone, you know within 3 weeks, and if you don't know, you know. I think the hiring process, it's even faster. I think as you get into the situation, it's like, hey, we're gonna give this a shot. Do you show up on time? Is your Zoom? Are you professional looking? Are you responding quickly? The things you want in an employee. And then I always tell them, like, give them a basic task. As you said, know what you want, have clear examples of the before and after, and then say, hey, give it a shot. I would rather hire 6 or 7 people for one job. Because of those 6 or 7 people, I maybe will get 1. Normally, I don't.
Yeah.
Normally, I've got to hire like 6 or 7 more people because I didn't know you existed. So I'll just go to you from now on. It saves me time. So those are some of the little simple things. Now, if you are getting a VA, some people don't understand 2 things. One, a typhoon for those in the United States, hurricane. Just so you understand, typhoon doesn't. We have no clue. Like, what's a typhoon? I'm like, it's a hurricane. And they have different levels of it. And understanding the Filipino culture, which I've hired VAs all over the world.
Yeah.
Hands down, my favorite of the Philippines. Filipino people. I love them. They're instinctively driven to want to please. And I love that. And that sometimes is the biggest thing. Like, the only time I've ever threatened to fire Christine is when she won't stop working. I'm like, I swear to God, if you don't take a day off, I'm going to fire you. That is indicative of my experience of the entire Philippines. So you've got to protect that as a boss. But everyone, when they're doing this, always is looking externally. And they completely fail to realize that they, as an employer, is also on trial. What are the things that, if I'm looking to hire someone and I'm coming to you, that you're like, listen, it's really cute that you want Susie to be Superwoman and you want her to take over the entire world. That's really cute. You need to turn the mirror on and look at yourself. What are the things that you tell your clients? Hey, we got to get some things involved. How do we get some of those ducks in a row? Because they need to show up as well to their best version.
One of the biggest things to recognize first is, like, what do you actually need? And sitting down and getting raw and real. Like, what is it you're trying to accomplish in your business or in your personal life, whatever that is? What are those things? Then you have to put them into buckets and figure out, well, what kind of a skill set is it? So an easy example is, we get people every day, every single day, it's insane, that continue to ask us, can I have somebody who does, let's say on the marketing front, who's a graphic designer, who can build me a website, who can run my Facebook ads, and then I want them to onboard my clients. I'm like, oh, okay. So you're going to have somebody who's like a developer who's going to be probably low on the kind of communicative, interpersonal, right, skill set. They're going to be very low on that profile. And then you want somebody to do onboarding who's going to be client facing, who's probably going to be quite a bit more communicative, right? But then you also want them to be creative, but at the same time technical, but at the same time strategic. And you're asking for all of these spectrums all in one human.
Right.
And I would like you to go find that person in the US, find out what that might cost you if it exists, and then realize that it's impossible and come back. So we always say, look, find your core skill set. We don't want generalists. We don't want a bunch of mediocre people who can do like 5 things okay. We want somebody who can do 1 or 2 things really well. And then from there, you can bring on another person because you have cost leverage when it comes to overseas hiring and things like that. There's cost leverage. And so that would be one of the first things I would say is get raw and real with what you actually need. So turn it back on you. We always want to just throw stuff off our plate, but what is it? And then what is that going to give you or your business? What's the output you're actually going to get? And if that isn't going to move the needle in a positive direction, meaning it might give me as the entrepreneur more time to focus on dollar productive activities, Okay, that's a really good thing if somebody gave me that freedom. Okay, great. Now, what else am I looking at in front of me that's causing me not to be dollar productive? Let's get that off my plate. That's another person. So that's where I would start.
So when you're going into this, a lot of people have the problem of my budget is only X and I have to hire someone. They have this illusion that I have to hire someone full time. If I
Yep.
bring someone on, they're my full time person. I need to commit to X amount of dollars a week, X amount of dollars a month.
Yep.
When you go into this and you're saying, hey, I need one person who can build me a house, make me sushi, build my car, and build a space shuttle. And you're like, okay, no, it's very different skill sets. When you walk into that and a client comes to you, do you sit down and say, hey, that's adorable?
Yeah.
No. Here's what this person's going to cost on hourly rate. Here's what this was. And do they have the ability to pick and choose in that?
Sure. Yeah. And so we actually make it even easier. So we have a couple options. First of all, you can go part time, which is 20 hours a week,
Mhm.
or you can go full time, 40 hours a week. But we also rolled out a few years back what we call our projects on demand service. So it's very similar to like an Upwork or Fiverr. The difference being is that the tasks that we do, which are endless. I mean, we just have, you know, I mean, we have 300 employees that can just do projects for you. And so the varying skill sets, everybody's got a core skill set. So we don't ask the graphic designer to become a carpenter.
Right.
We're not asking them to do things that are just completely out of their scope. They work within their bubble of their core specialization. We just happen to have hundreds of them so that you can assign a project and you know it's going to get done by somebody with that specific skill set. So that takes a lot of pressure off of, I need to hire somebody because I have 90 different things that need to get done. No, you probably have one core thing you need internally in your business. Somebody to be there every single day. They need to be, they're your right hand. They're with you. They need to learn the ins and outs of your company. That person should be a dedicated hire. That should be somebody who works directly within your business, part time, full time, right? Then all of the other stuff that's clouding your ability to do dollar productive activities, start offloading that with project-based work.
Right.
And say, great, I've got these other things. It's like, we got this graphic design task I haven't gotten done. I need this video edited for my, website. I need to do this update over here. Assign that stuff and get it off your plate to a project-based service. And you can actually work both of them in tandem. And that really, really helps.
And I think one of the things that really hits on people that they don't understand is if you're going to do this on your own, the hours,
Oh,
the endless hours that it takes to interview over and over and over and over and over
yeah.
and over and test, and this person and that person, and this person and that person is going to chew you up. And
Yeah.
what happens for most entrepreneurs is they say, well, then screw it. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to do it myself.
Yep.
And I can guarantee you, if you're doing it yourself, you're never going to scale. You're never going to get
Yeah.
to that next level. You're never going to run 4 or 5 companies at a time. You're never going to hit your financial marks, period. There's this myth of working hard. That was a great idea, and I really believed in it in the 1920s. When it's
Yeah.
not the 1920s anymore, and it's now about leverage. It's about OPM and OPT, and people just aren't doing that. So,
Yep.
what are the things that VAs are just amazing for? That's like, hey, you know what? If you need this, awesome. And then on the other hand, what are the things that don't outsource that? What are
Yeah.
as you look at those, the two sides of the spectrum there, what have you found
Pretty
out that work really well?
Yeah, pretty easy to tell. So, it's easier to say what not to hire for. I don't love virtual assistants, meaning another, Philippines, India, Pakistan, Latin America, all those things. I don't love that for sales.
Mhm.
I don't love that for phone support. I don't personally.
Correct.
Um, then strategy. I Strategy is not it. If they were able to do strategy,
They
they
would be
would not
VA.
be a virtual assistant.
Exactly.
They'd be competing head to head with you.
Yes.
But what they are great at is all things administrative, all things marketing, social media and all those things. But again, you take any of that stuff, and if you force them to do the strategy, you're going to break.
Right.
So if you come to the table and say, here's the strategy, here's what we're doing, here's what we're trying to get out of this, and then I need all of these things, done. Easy. So those are some of the areas that and development and real kind of techie stuff. Fantastic at all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I've learned that, they're great at making funnels. They're great
Yep.
at being what we call hammers. Just say,
Yeah.
"Hey, there's a nail, go hit it. Just go hit it, just
Yep.
go be a hammer." When you ask them to think outside of a box, if they could think outside of a box, they would not be VAs. And
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah.
I could not function as a human being if I didn't have a Christine. I love sushi. Doesn't mean I'm gonna ever learn how to make sushi and become a great sous chef. That's just not my job. I just go
Yeah.
someone else who does it. It's no
Yeah.
different when it comes to this, but idea that I'm special, that I'm unique, and that I'm the only person who can do that. And I think that creates some challenges. When they're looking at prices for this,
Yeah.
what should they be prepared for? What are the things? And again, I know numbers change radically. We're in the end of 2024 here. I know what it was 5 years ago. Good God, was
Yeah.
that a different price? Things changed. What are things that realistically, if someone says, "Hey, I need someone for marketing on a part-time thing, this is realistically where I should be. Here's," and if it's a project versus a part-time versus, what are the price things on that they should be prepared for as they walk into?
Yeah, I mean, I would always expect to be paying $10 an hour plus for
Mm,
really good quality, on a dedicated role.
right,
If it's project-based stuff, you're gonna have kind of more mediators in the middle, project managers, people in administrative roles. So the price can be a little bit higher because there's so much more, logistics built into this project-based structure.
right.
However, like the way we do projects on demand, we call them pods, on our side is that you just buy a block of hours and you get to use it over the course of an entire month. And so you say, okay, great, I want 40 hours to use over a month. You can assign 10 projects at one time, and they're going to go to the people that need to work them. And then those hours are going to get deducted as everybody's using them every day. And then we give you an update. I think it's like every week, and you get a notification that says, "Hey, here's all the hours used. How many you have left? Here's your next billing date." Those hours also roll over. So if you don't use them, you get to roll them over. That's really, really effective there. But I would say always go somewhere between expect 8 to 10 bucks an hour for dedicated people in kind of a marketing front. You might get when you get into like operations or like project management, I'd be looking somewhere beyond kind of the 12 to 15. And this is kind of speaking mainly for the Philippines.
Yep.
And then I think that if you go in with that expectation, it's going to be phenomenal. You could take like a project manager and what would cost you maybe 12 bucks an hour in the Philippines or something like that, or working with a company like ours, that might cost you $80,000 a year in the US,
Yes.
as an example. So, I mean, that's kind of the comparison.
Right. And I always tell people when they hear numbers, they're like, "Oh my God, I don't have 12 bucks an hour, I don't have 15 bucks an hour." I always tell them, if you're a Ferrari, you're not gonna deliver pizzas. Stop delivering pizzas. Stop doing the
Yeah,
stuff like mowing your lawn. Just
yeah,
stop it. There's no reason to do it. Figure out what your hourly rate is based on what you make and say, "Okay, my hourly rate, 75 an hour, 150 an hour, 250 bucks an hour. Awesome. Every time you mow the lawn, you're losing money." I'm like, "Oh, shit." So going through there and having that pivot is so vitally important.
oh my god, have them just calculate time when they check their email.
Oh my
How much time do you spend on your email every day?
Even outside of that, the stress of knowing that I don't have to check my email, the when
Oh,
when my phone goes
it's
bing,
amazing.
I ignore it. I literally turn off the notifications on my phone for email and for messages. I don't have any of
Yeah,
it. I'm like, I don't have little red circles that say I have a bazillion people to call me. I love it.
that's
It's
right.
worth every dollar I spend every single month.
100%.
I used
Yeah,
to say the first dollar I will spend is on marketing. That's not the case anymore. First
no.
dollar I spend is on outsourcing.
It's
Ev
getting my time back
Yes,
because I'm a better marketer and I'm better at dollar productive
yes,
activities. I'm way better when I don't have to focus on things that don't matter.
correct. Where
And
things that stress me the hell out. Yeah,
your email almost never matters.
correct.
There's almost nothing in your email that is so important that it's your eyes only.
Yeah.
And that was probably the hardest part when I first got that was like the last thing that I wanted to get off my plate.
Mhm.
I was like, yeah, I could still handle it. It's not that big of a deal." And there was one day when I'm like, "Okay, I'm really being stupid. This is dumb. Let me go through all these emails as far back as I can possibly go through in the next hour and figure out if there's anything that literally nobody else could see except me."
Right.
No, nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
We all have lots of email addresses. It is what it
Yeah,
is. My family knows to email me in a very specific location. If they emailed everywhere else, Christine's gonna be involved. It is what it
yeah.
is.
I just
So
don't
the
let
other
my family email me.
Yeah,
Like, if you need something, text me.
yeah,
Like, that's it. So
100%.
my family, that's it. Don't email me anything because I
Absolutely.
will not even know it came through.
It's
Yeah.
kinda like social media when we get messages inside social media, be it Gram or Facebook or all of
Yeah.
that. 99.9% of that is something that someone else can see, and I don't have to address it. And
100%.
what I'll do is I'll just, I'll get a debrief of it all, and we'll
Yep.
just record video messages or voice messages, and we'll just send voice messages back. I'm like, "Okay,"
Yeah.
because I'll just sit there and I'll do a call very similar to this, which is why I wanna ask you about tools next, where she'll just rapid fire it out, take the recording, crop it out, and then just send it off. And so
Yeah.
people are getting this, wow, this personalized voice message from me. I'm like, I just sat there for 2 hours and just went, bleh, if it's that high
Yeah.
of a level. The
Sure.
lower end stuff, yeah, have fun. So it
Yeah.
just, for example, the podcast is taking off. We probably get 20, 30 people a day requesting to be on the podcast. I'm
Right.
like, Christine, go handle that, please. So there's a very normal thing that we're talking about. Like, Christine is all we do. So yeah, we're just name dropping her all over the place. Please be nice to Christine. Those who are listening, be nice. What are some of the tools that you have found to be unbelievably effective? Because I use ones that no one else use because it's me. I'm old school. But what are some of the tools that you love?
We communicate as an internal company through actually all of our companies, all of our client,
Mhm,
kind of the way that we just categorize everything down, we use Slack for that. So internally, we communicate from Slack because
mhm,
we have so many people
mhm,
that we couldn't use like Skype or something of that nature because there's just too many people and we
right,
have to be able to create channels for very specific things. So, I mean, there are hundreds and hundreds of people communicating in Slack. So that's where we do that. Project management tools, we use Asana.
mhm,
I know ClickUp is like a better version or whatever, but when I actually went to ClickUp and said, "Hey, here's what we do. This is what our company does. Here's how we use it." Gave him kind of an overview on showed him like how we use it. I said, "Sell me. Like
right,
bring me to ClickUp. Show me why I need to switch platforms."
right,
And he literally was like, "Yeah, it's just going to be a waste of time because all you're going to do is do the exact same thing in our platform." So we stayed with Asana. So we've been with Asana for a really long time. Obviously, bigger meetings, we do all those through Zoom.
mhm,
We use the high level platform when within our company for CRM, marketing, automation, all that stuff. So we use high level. Big shout out. I was actually their very first customer. So that's pretty
nice,
sweet.
nicely done.
Yeah, so that's sweet. Let's see. I do pretty much everything else from my cell phone. And so I'm an Apple guy, so all things Mac. And yeah, I'm trying to think what other I'm like looking down the side of my bar and I'm like, what else do we use? Like that's kind of we operate the entire company through that.
And it's funny how simple these things are. Now, the reason we went with Asana on our side, because I don't care. I was like,
Yeah.
what do you use that you can function in and you can flow in really, really quickly
Yeah.
and get to execute? They're like, we like Asana. I'm like, okay, it's Asana. The only pushback that I have on them is I do not let them use Google Docs because I hate Google Docs. That's a
Okay.
personal thing. I was a Microsoft certified trainer. I was an MCSE. I ran IT divisions. I'm just more comfortable there. So I let them work in it, but
Yeah.
they know if it involves me, yeah, you're gonna not be in Google. And then I use Skype because it's easier. We're a smaller team. It's super easy. So people always want to know what I'm using and all of
Yeah,
that.
for sure.
What are the questions that if someone's writing down that before they come to you that you want them without a shot? We already talked about, know where you're going, but instead, let's get a little bit more detailed. What are the things that like, listen, I do this a lot. We brought a lot of people in. We got thousands and thousands of people. Have these 3 or 4 questions. Answer these before I get on the phone with you, before you bother me, before you jump on a call with me. Please, for the love of God, let's save us both some time. What are the questions that you want to have answered immediately before they jump on?
So, well, I mean, back to know where you're going, know what you're actually after. So sit down and genuinely think through your day
Mhm,
and identify all of the areas. They could be mundane, they could be kind of you're like, "Man, I don't know if that's really anything that we should hire for."
mhm,
Write it down. Come to the table with, "Look, these are all the things that waste my time or that aren't as productive and somebody else could do them." Write them all down no matter how inconsequential you think they are.
mhm,
Bring that to the table. The next thing is, what do you expect when you're gonna hire somebody who's virtual, right? An outsourced staff member. What do you actually expect?
mhm,
Are you expecting a certain education level? Are you expecting a certain level of experience? Are you expecting a certain ability with certain platforms?
mhm.
Like, what are those things that you're expecting?
Right.
So that's today. I want them to come in with this kind of core resume or, experience level. Here's the big one. Where do you need them to be in 2 years?
Right.
Because the problem that we see a lot, and this is something we've been addressing, I've been doing it through content and through communities. One of the core things that we run into is that outsourcing feels transactional to people,
Yep.
and it doesn't feel like I'm hiring somebody for my company forever. If you go and you're going to hire a marketing executive or a CFO, you're not assuming I'm going to do this for like 60 days.
Right.
No, no, no. This is like a 5-year,
Yeah.
10-year investment in your business.
Mhm.
You have to come to the table. If you're hiring dedicated staff, that's exactly the same thought process you should have. what you're going to end up with is a completely different candidate. Because on our side, when we go to work with the virtual assistant, we're going to say, "Hey, okay, great. Let's see your resume and what you're all about. Tell us your experience and show us. Okay, now prove it. We're going to test project. We do all those things. Okay, great. Here's where you are today. Where do you see yourself in 2 years? Where do you want to be in 5 years?" And we start asking these questions, and now all of a sudden they go, "Okay, wait a minute. Oh, this isn't, I'm just getting a gig for a minute. This is no longer the gig economy. This is a career." And
Yes.
the people that we bring on that have that are far better for everybody, for us, for you as a client, and all that. So those are kind of the core three that I would say come to the table with.
Yeah, I think it's one of the things that COVID taught all of us was that the minute everyone and companies realized, wait, we don't have to have people in offices. We can be almost as productive and sometimes more productive. The game changed. The prices for
Yeah,
VA shot up because obviously supply and demand. If you're
sure.
sitting at home right now, if you're listening to this and you're like, oh yeah, this can't happen. I'm not gonna have the same productivity if I have, if it's a VA or if it's outsourced. You're so unbelievably wrong. I
Well, I'd
wish I
love
could
to
tell you
say,
different.
I told you so.
Yeah.
I want to shout, "I told you so" all day.
Yeah.
It's like, well, we can't be as productive. We can't build as good of a business. And I'm like, "Pff, I'll put my business up against yours all day."
100%. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm like, are you
Absolutely.
kidding me? So just as an example, because a lot of people don't really understand this piece of it. So I'm a college dropout.
Mhm.
Um, I didn't have the ability to finish school. What didn't interest me. However, my lead developer on my team is a professor. So when you wanna talk about what you can get as quality, people go, "Oh, well, they're just not, who are they? They're not that." No, no, no. There's some pretty dang amazing people out
Elite.
there.
Right.
We have team members who have 20 years experience in a core skill set.
Yep.
I don't have that.
Right.
So
Nor
why
should I.
in the wo Yeah. So
Right.
I think it's I think that people need to step back. They need to humble themselves and realize that, for the title of the book, "The World is Flat," we're in a world where it doesn't matter where somebody is.
Right.
There are no borders anymore when it comes to employing. Just as a side note, if somebody has that, well, you guys are shipping jobs overseas. Yeah, everybody's been doing it forever. And here's the interesting part of it. Most companies fail.
Mhm.
Most businesses will fail.
Absolutely.
Part of their challenge is most of the reason is capital resources. They
Mhm.
just don't have access to capital. They don't have the ability to hire the right skill set
Right.
to drive the business. Well, now they have the leverage to hire the right people. When the company can now afford to hire somebody local, they have the money to do it.
Right.
And they did it because they used dollar leverage, overseas outsourcing. Then they brought their business in house. Now the company survives, and outsourcing was the key to that. And so that is my argument against it all day. Yeah, we're employing all over the world. However, there's an opportunity somebody could just become successful enough to afford to hire local. So if that's your goal, fantastic,
Right.
but it's an opportunity.
Well, I also think there's huge hypocrisy, right? Like, oh,
Yeah.
why would you send your money overseas or why I'm like, cool. Tell me where your food came from. Tell me,
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
tell me
Yeah.
who
No,
made
it's
the
true.
parts in your car. Tell me who
Yeah.
made your shirt. Tell me where the stuff that's in your shirt was grown. Walk me through this process. Walk me through
Yeah.
any part of your house where everything was created here in one location. I
Yeah.
wish we could do that. I wish everything would be here, but I don't want to spend $700 for a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Sorry. It just is what it is. I got to make sure I can feed my family. Sorry, we
For
just,
sure.
until we automate this, this is the world we live in. I live in reality. Sorry, I
Yeah.
like to eat. Food is
Yeah.
good. In order for me to eat, I need to have money. Sorry, this is the game we play.
Sure.
So, all right. So, if people are going through this and they want to, like, listen, I get it. I'm completely a noob to this. I don't know what to do. I'm terrified. I heard that you guys are doing it. I want to have that level of success. How can they get on the phone with you? How do they find you? How do they get in touch with you to say, listen, hey, I don't know if I'm ready to hire. I don't know what this is like. I'm really scared. You've had all this success. Obviously, Charles does it as well. How do they get a hold of you to track that down? And are you open to having a call with them?
Yeah. So, personally, I'm not gonna lie, it won't be me on the call, but we
Like you
have a
have VAs that will do
fantastic
it.
team.
Weird.
Oh, no, I mean, we have a fantastic team of
Right.
people who jump on calls and they support, and it's very consultative. So, level9virtual.com,
Mhm.
level9virtual.com, top right corner is a big old yellow button that says book a call.
Yeah.
Book a call, jump on, ask questions. Bring those 3 items that we had talked about, right? Your clarity, knowing what is sucking your time, kind of where need somebody to be when they come into your business, and then where you see them in 2 years or whatever. But if you only need project-based work, then bring the list of stuff you want to get off your plate and we can help you with it. But our team is very consultative. It's one of the things that I will brag to the end of the earth about is that we are not hard sales.
Right.
Ever. I don't care. We have plenty of clients. I don't need to hard sell you. If you don't think it's a good fit, like I always tell people, it should be a no-brainer.
Yes.
You come in, you're like, I can't imagine not doing this because it's the right thing to do. And if you don't feel that, don't do business with us. Go somewhere else. But I will tell you, we're so consultative. And for example, Dakota leads up, our entire sales division. He jumps on the call and he'll spend serious time with you. He will text with you if you have questions that pop up later. He's going to make sure that you feel very confident in the decision that you're making moving forward. So level9virtual.com, big yellow button in the top right corner.
If you sat there and said, listen, I get to homeschool my kids. I get to spend all the time with them as much as possible. I'm having the success I have. Could you honestly and authentically have done what you've done without your VA and without Level 9?
I don't know how to. So I can tell you this quick story, before we wrap it up. I had a marketing agency that was an office filled with 27 US employees.
Mhm.
And there's some really kind of gangster stuff that you got to realize goes on when you have a business that's local, right? For example, ergonomic chairs. I didn't know that there was a such thing that had to be, if somebody complains and they go, and now all of a sudden you got a workers' comp issue.
Yep.
And I'm like, what? Wait a minute. This doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm going to get in trouble because I didn't buy an $800 chair.
Yes.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Oh, the desk isn't the right height so that their monitor is sitting in the right. And I'm like, this is real. Like, this is stuff, like stuff that companies deal with.
Right.
And that company failed.
Mhm.
And it failed because we couldn't build the business how we needed to build it to be able to afford the staff, to be able to afford everything we were doing. And there were other factors as well. So it's not all a staff issue. But when I relaunched and said, okay, I'm going to relaunch an agency, I'm going to do it from zero, but it's 100% run with virtual assistants.
Mhm.
We went from zero to $109,000 a month in 4 months. We doubled in another 4 months. And then we hit over $1 million a month shortly after that.
There it is.
Virtual, and there is
Can't do
zero
that
people
locally right now with that. You just can't. People ask,
yes.
why did you sell your first company? It was thriving. We were getting 30% every quarter growth, every single quarter. Employees. 100,000. I sold my IT company because the employees.
Yeah.
I would rather have a wall of Christines than the employees that work for me. That used to work for me at the IT company.
Look, they're fantastic. Like, this is not a knock on people local or whatever. The reality is the game is set up against entrepreneurs. It's set up against us.
Yeah.
And I'm talking from a tax standpoint, a legal standpoint.
Yes.
This workers' comp stuff is
holy Christ.
Insanity.
Insurance, all of it. Eats
all
us
of it.
a lot.
It is. And it's just cost that doesn't have to exist if we all had common sense and we took care of ourselves.
Correct. But we don't have that.
That's just the reality of it. So I'd rather outsource and take stuff, to people who actually respect the role, want the role, they are loyal to the company. They're not going to try to go stab me in the back and sue us for a workers' comp thing because they have the wrong, desk height and so forth. It's like, no, like, you set up your own thing and get your shit done. Like,
absolutely.
It's pretty easy.
Like when you were talking about earlier that if a typhoon hits you, you need to have somewhere to go. I'm not paying for that.
Yeah.
Get your butt over there, get it done. Do your job.
That's right.
And I think that the entitlement across the board that exists right now is eating us alive. On no matter which side of the spectrum you're on, it's too much. It's gotten out of control. And this is what forced us to do these things. So no, I'm all in on outsourcing. I've done it for a really long time. I could not run my businesses. So if people want to get into this, again, how do they track you down? What's the best way to get hold of you?
Level9virtual.com and book a call. It's the easiest thing.
Man, I really appreciate it, Joe. Thank you so very much.
You got it. Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Stop talking about what you're going to do and start proving what you can actually accomplish. Every minute you spend planning is a minute you're not executing. The market doesn't care about your perfect strategy. It rewards those who take action, fail fast, learn quickly, and keep moving forward.